Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel, and there are some topics in JAMB biology that you cannot escape. There are some questions that are repeated questions, constantly repeated questions. These questions are questions that you cannot escape in your JAMB biology, and I'll be going to, in this video I'll be taking part 1 of the JAMB repeated questions in biology. These questions are questions you cannot escape. So first, one topic that have been observed to be repeated most often in JAMB is nutrition, with plant and animal nutrition. So I'm going to be taking those repeated questions. I'm going to be telling you the question, and I'm not only going to be telling you the question, I'm going to be telling you the answers to those questions. So please watch and learn. So let's start. But before we start, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe. Like this video so you don't miss any of our videos. All right, let's start. So the first question here says, I'll read out the question and I'll explain the answer. First question here says, which of these is the terminal portion of the alimentary canal of a mammal? Which is the terminal portion of the alimentary canal of a mammal? Is it esophagus? Is it esophagus? Is it stomach? Is it rectum? Is it colon? So which is the terminal portion? Terminal means the ending portion of the alimentary canal. Now the terminal portion, when they say the alimentary canal, they are looking at if you have something like this. If you have something like this as your intestine, this is their digestive tract. Now this is your esophagus. This is the stomach. The rectum is here. The colon is part of the intestine. So the terminal portion, the ending portion of the alimentary canal is what? You can see the answer here is rectum, because rectum is here, the terminal, the ending portion. This is the beginning portion. Esophagus, stomach, colon is part of the intestine, then the rectum is here. So the answer to that question is what? Is rectum. All right. So the second question now. Now, the second question, question 2, which of these is not an enzyme? Which of these is not an enzyme? Please take note of, they are saying is not an enzyme. So A says pepsin. A says pepsin, which is not an enzyme. B says gastrin. C says amylase. And D says chymotrypsin. So which is not an enzyme from all these ones listed? So you can see pepsin. Yes, pepsin is an enzyme. Please, in answering your questions, do the odd one out. Start from the one you know. Start from the one you know that is an enzyme. So now, pepsin is an enzyme. You take gastrin. Have you heard of gastrin before as an enzyme? You hold on. Amylase. Yes, you know amylase now is involved in carbohydrate metabolism. So it's an enzyme. Chymotrypsin is also an enzyme. Chymotrypsin is also an enzyme. Gastrin, though it is found in the stomach, is not an enzyme. It can be seen as a digestive juice, but it's not an enzyme. So that is not an enzyme. So gastrin here is not an enzyme. So gastrin is the answer to that question. Now the next question we have. The next question, that's question 3. These questions are constantly repeated. So please and please take notes. Please and please take notes. Now, the digestive enzyme that coagulates proteins in milk is dash. The digestive enzyme that coagulates proteins in milk is dash. So A says thiolin. A says thiolin. B says pepsin. C says renin. And D says trypsin. Now, which of these enzymes coagulates milk? You know, in children, they have an enzyme that helps to coagulate milk, to turn it into something like a semi-solid. Adults, they don't have that enzyme. It's only found in children. It coagulates the milk and make it in a semi-solid form. Now, that enzyme that coagulates milk, is it tyline? You know tyline is found in your stomach, in your mouth, right? It's also called alpha salivary amylase. It's found in your mouth, and this one is involved in what? Carbohydrate digestion. It's not in milk coagulation, so this one is out. Pepsin, this one is out. Trypsin is out. The correct answer is renin. Renin is the enzyme that is involved in coagulation of milk, and it is only found in children. So please take note of that. Now the next question. Which of the following, okay. So the next question now. Which of the following organs produces bile? Can you guess the answer? Which of the following organs produces bile? This is bile. So which organ produces bile? A says gallbladder. Gallbladder. This is A. B says pancreas. C says spleen. And D says liver. So what do you think is the answer? This question has constantly been repeated, and you know there are misconceptions. Some persons will say this, some persons will say that. But bile, which is as a result of the breakdown of red blood cell, is produced in the liver, not the pancreas. Because most persons will always go with the pancreas here. But the answer to this question is the liver. Gallbladder is not involved in the production. Instead, it's involved in the storage. Now, the liver here, the liver is where bile is produced, because that is where red blood cell breakdown takes place. So when red blood cell is broken down, we have bile. Now, bile is produced where? In the liver. Hope you're learning something. Please take note of all these things, because they are repeated questions and you're likely to see one of them in your exam. All right, the next question there. The next question. Which of the following food substances is digested in the stomach? Which of the following food substances is digested in the stomach? A. Carbohydrates. B. Fats and oils. C. Fats and proteins. D. Proteins. Now the question is asking which of these is digested in the stomach. First of all, you have to note that carbohydrates cannot be digested in the stomach. Carbohydrate digestion starts from the mouth. You agree with me? From the mouth, it passes through the gullet or esophagus. From the gullet or esophagus to the stomach. But in the stomach, digestion halts. It stops. Digestion of carbohydrate pauses in the stomach. And as it pauses from the stomach now, that food substance now called chyme is moved from the stomach to the small intestine, and digestion continues there. So carbohydrate digestion cannot take place in the stomach, because the stomach is acidic, and the enzymes involved in carbohydrate digestion in the stomach will be inactivated. Fats and oils cannot be digested in the stomach also. Fats and proteins, this option is wrong because we still have fat here. The food substance that can be digested in the stomach is proteins. So protein digestion can take place in the stomach, but digestion of fats cannot take place in the stomach. Digestion of carbohydrates can also take place in the stomach. Please, you're watching, you've not subscribed, please do well to click the subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, so the next question. The conversion of excess amino acids into urea occurs in the dash. The conversion of excess amino acids into urea occurs in the dash. So option A says kidney. B says pancreas. C says villi. And D says liver. So the conversion of excess amino acids into urea occurs where? Now, amino acids are broken down, and we have the amino group converted into urea. That breakdown of amino acid takes place in the liver. So amino acids are broken down and converted to urea in the liver. Please, anytime you hear breakdown in your body, most of the breakdown reactions take place in the liver. All right, so the answer to that question is the liver, not the kidney, not the pancreas, not the villi. The answer is what? Is the liver. All right, next question. Just like I said, these are most repeated questions in JAMB, and you see them in your exams. So the next question here says, all of the following are digestive enzymes except dash. All of the following are digestive enzymes except dash. So A says bile, B says lipase, C says maltase, D says pepsin. All right, now looking at this, they said which of the following is not a digestive enzyme. Now it says bile. First of all, bile is not an enzyme, so it's even out of it. Bile is not an enzyme. Lipase is an enzyme involved in the digestion of lipid. Maltase is an enzyme involved in the breakdown of maltose into glucose and glucose. That's two glucose molecules. Pepsin is an enzyme involved in protein digestion. So you see, bile is not an enzyme in the first place. Though it's involved in emulsification of fat, but it's not an enzyme. The question is asking which of the following is not a digestive enzyme. So the answer to that question is what? Is bile. All right, there's a bonus question here. There's a bonus question here. And the question says, Kwashiorkor is caused by severe deficiency of dash. Kwashiorkor is caused by severe deficiency of dash. A, water. B, oil. C, drugs. D, proteins. So Kwashiorkor is caused by deficiency of what? You know that disease that the person will have big head, the person will have big stomach, small legs. You know that disease, right? So it is caused by deficiency of what? It's caused by deficiency of protein. So Kwashiorkor is actually as a result of deficiency of proteins. All right. Now, the next question, you have to take it very, very serious. You have to take it very, very serious because it's very important. So the next question says, which of the following pairs are the products of sucrose hydrolysis? Which of the following pairs are the products of sucrose hydrolysis? Meaning, when you break down sucrose, what are the products? So A says glucose plus glucose. B says fructose plus fructose. C says glucose plus fructose. And D says galactose plus glucose. All right, now the question is asking which is the product of sucrose hydrolysis. Sucrose hydrolysis. Now, if you note that glucose plus glucose will give us maltose. Glucose plus glucose will give us maltose. Glucose plus fructose will give us sucrose. And galactose plus glucose will give us lactose. So basically, these are the three main disaccharides we have, the main known disaccharides we have. So maltose is glucose plus glucose. Sucrose is glucose plus fructose. Lactose is galactose plus glucose. If you notice, all of them have glucose. Glucose plus something, glucose plus something, glucose plus something. All right, so glucose plus lactose will give us lactose. Two molecules of glucose will give us maltose. Glucose plus fructose will give us what? Sucrose. So the answer to that question, the product of sucrose hydrolysis, is what? Is the product of sucrose hydrolysis is glucose plus fructose. The next question: if the gallbladder is removed by surgery, which of the following will be most seriously affected? Listen to the question very well. If the gallbladder is removed by surgery, which of the following will be most seriously affected? A says digestion of fats and oils. Digestion of fats and oil. B says formation of urea. Formation of urea. C says digestion of starch. And D says conversion of proteins. Alright, so if the gallbladder is removed by surgery, which of these will be most seriously affected? First of all, you ask yourself, what is the function of the gallbladder? You know, it is in the gallbladder that bile is stored, and bile is involved in the breakdown of fats, emulsification of fats. So now, digestion of fats and oils will be affected definitely, because gallbladder, the bile that is supposed to be used in emulsification of fats will no longer be there. Formation of urea takes place in the liver, not the gallbladder. Digestion of starch does not take place in the gallbladder. Conversion of protein does not take place in the gallbladder. So the answer to that question is digestion of fats and oils. Digestion of fats and oils. Alright, so the next question here. The next question. Please take note of all these things. They are serious questions that you must know. Serious questions you must know. And if you missed the last video I made a video on how to score over 300 in JAMB. It's like magic. It's very simple. How to score over 300 in JAMB is very, very simple. It's something you can achieve. So if you missed that video, I'll leave the link to the description of this video. So go to the description of this video and check out that how to score over 300 in JAMB. Alright, so that being said, the next question: which of the following statements is not true of enzymes? Which of the following statements is not true of enzymes? A, are proteins. B, need cofactors to activate them. C, are sensitive to hydrogen ions. D, can withstand high temperature. So they say which is not true of enzymes. You know, enzymes catalyze biochemical reactions, and enzymes are proteins in nature. So this is true, that enzymes are proteinous in nature. They need cofactors to activate them. Yes, enzymes need cofactors to activate them. They are sensitive to hydrogen ion concentration, that is pH. Yes, they are sensitive to pH. Now, can withstand high temperature? No. Enzymes cannot withstand high temperature. So enzymes are destroyed when there is high temperature. So at high temperature, the enzyme is denatured, and so the enzyme can no longer carry out its properties, enzymatic properties. All right. The next question here is similar to what I've explained before. It says urea is produced in the dash. So where is urea produced? Urea is produced, A says liver, B says bladder, C says spleen, D says kidney. So where is urea produced? Urea is produced where? In the liver. Urea is produced in the liver. Good. Next question. I'll see who will get this right. First of all, because while I was explaining the other question, I mentioned it. Partially digested food ready to leave the stomach is referred to as dash. Partially digested food ready to leave the stomach is referred to as dash. A says chyme. B says, hold on, partially digested food ready to leave the stomach. Okay, A says chyme, B says cord, C says glycogen, and D says paste. So partially digested food ready to leave the stomach. Once the food has been partially digested and is moving from the stomach now to the small intestine, it is no longer called food, or you don't call it food again. What do you call it? That is what the question is asking. So you call it chyme. Chyme, not cord, not glycogen, not paste. So partially digested food ready to leave the stomach is called chyme. It's called chyme. All right, are we good to go? Hope you are learning something. All right, the next question. Which of the following organs regulate the amount of amino acids and glucose in the body? All these things are bonus questions. I'll tell you hints of how to get these questions. Which of the following organs regulate the amount of amino acids and glucose in the body? A says kidney. A says kidney. B says liver. C says pancreas. D says spleen. So which of the following organs regulate the amount of amino acids and glucose in the body? Now, anytime it comes to body regulation of blood glucose, regulation of amino acid, regulation of all those food substance, don't even read the option to the end. Just know that the answer is the liver. The liver is like a police. The liver is the organ that serves the most important function in your body, as so long as internal system is concerned, or internal organs is concerned. Now, the liver is what regulates the amount of amino acids and glucose in the body. All right, so the next question here, I will leave you to answer this one. So drop the answer of this one in the comment section. Drop the answer of this particular question in the comment section. And please, if you've not subscribed, please do me a favor and do yourself that favor of clicking the subscribe button so you don't miss any video, because I'll be dropping videos often and often, so you succeed in your upcoming exam. All right, so answer this question for me. Answer this question. Which of the following will be first digested if ingested at the same time? Which of the following, if you take them in at the same time, which of them will be first digested? A says cooked beans. B says cooked rice. C says cod liver oil. And D says roasted beef. Now, which of the following will be first digested if ingested at the same time? Now, drop your answer in the comment section and drop the reason behind your answer. So if you say roasted beans is your answer, if cooked beans is your answer, drop the reason why. If it's cooked rice, why? If it is cod liver oil, why? If it's roasted beef, why? Drop your answer in the comment section. Like this video, share it to all those preparing for JAMB, and also click on the subscribe button so you don't miss out in any of my videos. This is part 1 of the video. Let me also know in the comment section if I should drop the part 2 of this video. Thank you for watching. My name is Excellence Simplified. Wishing you good luck.